Our organization is the Louisiana Partnership for Children and Families, and I'm the executive director. And today is Children's Day at the Capitol, and our theme this year is Let's Make Magic Happen for Our Children. So we're here to tell all of the great magical stories about the organizations that are really doing wonderful things for children in our state.
The name of our organization is Louisiana United Methodist Children and Family Services. We help kids by providing a variety of services across the state, kind of on a spectrum of services, from intensive in-person to community-based. So on the intensive side, we have 3 children's homes, one in North Louisiana in Ruston, one in South Louisiana outside of Hammond, and one in Southwest Louisiana outside of Lake Charles. In those 3 children's homes, we provide intensive residential care for children who have experienced a lot of trauma in their young lives. They've been a lot of foster care placements, they've seen family trauma, and so they need that extra level of support that we can provide in person in our residential facilities. And the goal is for them to come to us. We pour into them the love, the care, the hope that they need, and then we guide them back home to a family setting, whatever that means for them, because that's what we want. We want them to get back home with their families. We also have a statewide therapeutic foster care program called Methodist Foster Care. And like our children's homes, it's foster care, but with an additional level of therapeutic support for kids who have medical conditions, or they just need additional love and support for behavioral or mental health needs. So we recruit our own foster families and we train them so they get an additional level of training to be able to provide care for children with additional needs. And we have a variety of community-based services. In North Louisiana and Duboc, we provide equine therapy to children with additional needs for children in our facilities as well as in the community. We have life skills training programs for kids who are aging out of foster care to help them learn the skills that they need to successfully live independently once they leave the foster care system. We have family counseling, and so all of these services, the goal is to support children and families wherever they are in the state and however great their need is.
So today we're talking about the magic being made for children throughout the state, and one of the most magical programs is the Louisiana United Methodist Children and Family Services program. They have Methodist children's homes throughout the state, and one of their great programs is called the Outdoor Wilderness Learning Center, or what they call the OWL Center. It's in Duboc, Louisiana, and the children, a lot of them have had trauma or addiction issues. They are in residential treatment facilities with the Methodist services, and they are in a horticultural program, so they grow their own tomatoes. And a few years ago, they were getting their tomatoes ready to sell, and they found out that the ones that were kind of ugly and bruised and didn't work weren't selling. So the adults said, well, give us those and we will start making salsa. And the adults started making salsa as a way to raise money for their programs. And it's a really magical place. The OWL Center in Duboc is just beautiful acreage of lakes. They have an equine therapy program. They have the horticultural program. And some of these kids who have lived in just really bad situations that's led them into treatment have never been in that kind of setting before. And it really does something magical for them. They feel empowered, they feel relaxed, they feel safe, and they work with animals and the ground, and they really get in touch with healing themselves. So that's one of the great magic. So we're giving out the OWL Salsa today to all the legislators so that they can hear the story and know what's being done for children in North Louisiana.
The name of our organization is the Louisiana CASA Association, and we help children by advocating for youth in foster care during their court hearings. We've had a really great response. Studies actually show that children with CASA volunteers do better in school, they spend less time in foster care, and they're actually less likely to re-enter foster care.
What does CASA stand for, and how many volunteers do you need?
So CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, and we need volunteers statewide. Right now we have about 1,500 CASA volunteers, but there's over 4,000 foster children every day in Louisiana, so we're always looking for more.
The name of our organization is the Center for Children and Families, and we are dedicated to promoting safe, healthy environments for kids, and we do that through advocacy, education, counseling, and prevention programs.
What are some of the biggest issues facing Louisiana's children?
Right now, we've got a crisis in terms of mental health issues for our kids, and we've got a workforce issue with counselors providing services to kids, and so that's a huge issue. And we've got some real crisis when it comes to kids that are being put into foster care. We operate a CASA program in Northeast Louisiana, and we're constantly looking for volunteers in the community to help support and speak up on the behalf of kids in foster care.
What would you like to see the legislature do in this session to help children across the state?
I think for me, looking at what the legislators can do is really promote community-based services for our kids. A lot of times we're looking for solutions for what's going on with the problems that we're having in terms of crime, issues in school, but a lot of that starts at home. And so if we can support agencies that are going out into the community, those nonprofit organizations that are supporting in the community, working with families directly, that's a great way for us to really make an impact that's going to have a lasting change for our kids and for our state.
The name of our organization is Save the Children Action Network, and we help children by advocating for policy that benefits them in early childhood.
What are some of the big issues facing children in early childhood and those that are not in programs?
High quality childcare and food security.
What would you like to see the legislature do in this session?
I would like to see the legislator invest in kids by allocating funds for early childhood education.
What kind of results have you seen from those programs?
Most recently, one of our big wins was securing summer EBT program for Louisiana children to make sure that they're fed during the summer months.
How critical is that?
Absolutely critical. Children don't typically have healthy quality foods during the summer months if they're already living below poverty lines, so programs like this ensure that they get access to high quality food.
The name of our organization is the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, and we really seek to be a source of research and data related to policy matters for children birth to 4 years old in our state.
What is the situation with Louisiana's children today?
The situation for Louisiana's children today is a little bit dire if we're thinking about access to quality early care and education. We have about 100,000 children that don't have access to quality early care and education, and right now as the state budget sits, there's a $24.3 million budget cut that would affect 2,000 children, and they would lose access to child care.
Why is that important?
It's important because we know that that 90% of brain development happens in the first 4 years of life. And so we know that children having exposure to early learning experiences that are quality are critically important to their brain development.
How does Louisiana rank in this area compared to other states?
Well, we're a shining light, actually, if we look at child care in Louisiana. We are in the top 20 states in the country for our accountability system. So we know for every dollar that follows those children that it's in a system that it has good outcomes. We just don't have enough access for children to have those good outcomes because they need more access to child care.
What would you like to see happen in this session of the legislature?
I'd really like to see in this session for the $24.3 million to be restored in the state's budget. Additionally, we'd really like to be able to see some changes related to home visiting as well, and for children to really be a priority to the state.
The name of our organization is Seeds to Success, the Louisiana Farm to School program, and we help kids by helping them make a connection from the garden or from their local grocery store or farmer's market into the classroom. So our program provides lessons K through 12 connected to Louisiana state student standards. We also provide recipes, and our big program is Harvest of the Month, where we have 22 Louisiana products that we highlight, and we provide different materials for the classroom or to take home. And lastly, we offer growing materials like seeds and windowsill kits for teachers in Louisiana.
What kind of results have you seen?
So we have about 80% of schools in Louisiana participate in our Harvest of the Month program. Through this, we've also done some studies that show that these children now eat healthier, especially because when you start at a young age, it's more likely to make a lasting impact, and so that's why we try to get in the school, K through 12, and teach them about local growing.
What would you like to see the legislature do to help those children?
We just like to see them keep supporting our programs and supporting local growers and local food.
The name of our organization is Via Link, and we help children and families by providing services to the entire state of Louisiana. We now house the Office for Prevent Child Abuse Louisiana, or PCAL. We also provide a 24-hour contact center that serves the entire state of Louisiana. We are part of the 211 network, which is information and referral for health and human services, and a part of the 988 network, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. We have a statewide phone and text line just for parents. Louisiana Louisiana Parent Line, and a statewide line just for teens, the Crisis Teen Text Line. We also provide training and education for children and families, or those that work with children and families, on topics like suicide response, de-escalation, self-regulation, adverse childhood experiences, grief, and trauma.
How serious is the issue of trauma with teens?
Well, I think it's very serious. I think that trauma is a word that's kind of being thrown around a lot lately, and what we really need to recognize is that trauma is individualized. There is no universal metric for what might be traumatic to one person, and we have to understand how that might manifest itself in things that look like conscious behavioral choices, or actually someone trying to just adapt in their brain to survive for what they've been through. So a greater understanding is really needed in schools and in places where people work with children and families, so that we're coming from a strengths-based perspective and always healing.
The name of our organization is Training Grounds, and we help children by providing support to parents and caregivers to create quality early childhood learning experiences.
How do you provide that support?
We provide support to parents through our We Play Center, which is a free play and learn space where parents and children can come together and engage in brain-building activities that helps to develop children's language skills and their ability to take turns and all the school readiness skills they need to go on to school and be successful.
What kind of results have you seen?
We have seen a tremendous amount of parental involvement, parents having a much better understanding of child development, understanding strategies to help their children develop those skills that are necessary, and we've seen parents feel less stressed and more support in their role as parents.
What would you like to see the legislature do in this session to help those children and families?
I would love to see the legislators support families and children by, one, providing funding for early child care education seats for children to be able to have a place to go and learn. And I would also like to see them support those programs like Training Grounds that are not connected to seats, but are providing parents with the support they need to be the best parents so that your children can go on and be successful in life.
The name of our organization is Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Baton Rouge, and we help children by having multitude of programs such as home visiting, early education, parenting, a food distribution program, diaper distribution program, adoption, behavioral health, and housing, many, many more. Those are just to name a few.
How critical is the need for those families that utilize those services?
It's very critical. Some of the families really rely on the food that they receive from our agency, also the parenting education and early childhood education. We know that the biggest return on investment in children is between the ages of 0 and 5, and our home visiting program is intended and helps parents of children ages 0 to 5. They learn to be their child's first and best teacher and get them ready for school. They get more involved in their child's education, and therefore it reduces the incidence of abuse and neglect in the home. Parental protective factors are increased.
What would you like to see happen in this session of the legislature to help those children and families?
I would like to see the legislature put more funding and programming towards early childhood programs such as Parents and Children Together, like at Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Baton Rouge, and be able to see the importance of investing early in our children.
The name of our organization is West Baton Rouge Ready Start Network, and we help children by increasing the number of 0 to 3-year-old seats that children can access, by raising the quality of early care, and also by raising awareness and raising funds for children from ages 0 to 3 in early childhood settings.
How critical is that?
Very much so critical. We know that science has proven and backed the fact that if we invest early, then in the long run, the better off children will be. Not just the children cognitively, but the community as a whole. If we invest now, there's less that we'll have to spend later. So very critical that children have access to quality care from birth to 3 years old.
What would you like to see the legislature do in this session to help those children?
I would like to see the legislature replace that $24.3 million back into the CCAP funding. We fought for it last year, we won it last year, now it's going past the House into the Senate committee. We would love to see the $24.3 million added back into the budget for CCAP.
And what happens if that does not occur?
Well, what happens if that does not occur is that over 2,000 children will lose access to quality early education seats in our state. And that's compounding another 6,000 or so who are already awaiting seats or awaiting accommodations to be funded into an early care setting.
The name of our program is Family Connects New Orleans. We are a program of the New Orleans Health Department, and we help children by providing 3 free nurse home visits to recently postpartum families.
How important is that for the families?
Absolutely important. So the fact that this visit is for both mom and baby, as well as it includes a home assessment. So the fact that mom and baby get a visit together is very, very important. And we also connect them with resources in the community.
The name of our service is Early Childhood Support and Services, and we service children by providing our families with 2 arms of services. We service children under the age of 6. We start with infants, so 0 to 5. And then, so what we do is we have 2 components to our services. We have a team of psychiatrists, as well as infant early childhood support, as well as family support. Of the results that we've seen is that we've seen family getting some of their needs met, building stable environments, and healthy relationship being built between family and child.
What are the biggest issues facing Louisiana's children?
You know, there's so many issues from early childhood all the way up to youth aging out of foster, but really it's the amount of investment. Louisiana for a long time just really hasn't invested in their children, and so we're seeing some of the repercussions of that. We're seeing a lot of kids in the OJJ system, we're seeing a lot of kids with mental health issues, and what we're really advocating for today is that we invest in these programs that we know work and we know make a difference for our children.
What are some of the biggest issues facing the legislature right now as it deals with children?
Yeah, so funding is one of the biggest issues. We're looking at a $23.4 million cut to the Child Care Assistance Program, which is vital for children to be able to have access to high quality early learning. And we have a lot of issues that we'd like to fund about Medicaid rates and things like that, and there just aren't the funds to make that happen.